Okay, looking good. Okay, so hey guys, this is Pargat Barsal. Welcome back to my channel. Today we are having a very nice guest, which is a brother from another country. And so today, Mr. D'Ambrosi is with us. He is with us to hey Christian. So he's with us to teach us some of the tips and tricks, not teach us, to educate us, for especially for Indian students. What are the steps they need to follow when they visit Canada? What are the courses which are good for them, and many more. There are much more to talk with him. So make sure you be with us till the end of the video, because we are going to add some great value in your life. So let's start with his intro. So you can start with the intro.
All right. Well, nice to see all of you guys. I just wanted to say it's an honor to be on Pargat's YouTube channel. I mean, I've seen some of the videos and I can see that he provides a lot of value and I guess good insight onto the IELTS and how to do well. So I think that's awesome content that I really appreciate. So at least on my end, my name is Christian D'Ambrosi. I am a university student at the University of Toronto. I study international relations, history, and Italian. And I actually also have a YouTube channel as well, a little bit smaller, but it's called The Rooster Report. So if you want to see some, it's a lot of stuff like politics.
Yeah, so I was going to come on that point that he's also having a YouTube channel, which is regarding international affairs. Am I right?
Exactly.
So yeah, so if anyone interested in watching international affairs, he's having an awesome content uploaded there. Right now he's working on it, so you can visit his channel. We'll give the link of his channel in the description box. Make sure you reach his channel and subscribe the channel.
Thank you.
Okay.
Love to see you guys there.
Okay, so let's start with some of the questions which are like a rapid fire round, we can say it. So D'Ambrosi, you are a student there in the University of Toronto. So if I'm not wrong, you are a student of which course?
So I study international relations, history, and Italian.
Okay, okay. So you what was the condition that you choose this course? Was this interest matter or something like you think that there is a scope in this?
So like sort of why did I choose the school?
In
other words, or why did I choose the courses, or both?
Yeah, like you can answer it in your manner. Like what was the reason you go opt that course? Like in India, we have some conditions. Like if you want to choose this course, you must have a scope of having a job ahead. So
I see.
Yeah. So what were the conditions there?
Yeah. So at least for me, I would like to go to law school in the future. I'd like to be a lawyer, at least as of now. So I guess that really to be a lawyer, at least in Canada, you can take pretty much any courses you want during your undergraduate, so during your first 4 years of university, and then you apply for law school. So I sort of took courses that, I mean, I really enjoy and I really like. I would say that what I sort of like about all three is that with international relations, so for those of you that may not know, it is a mix of political science, history, and economics. So it sort of combines those three and it gives you a really good insight sort of into how the world works, how different affairs work between different countries. So I would say that that is I found it an awesome course, or awesome program rather. History as well. I mean, I've always loved history, and sort of for the same reasons. I feel like it really gives you good insight just into even the events of today and how they've evolved. And Italian, well, my grandparents are Italian, and I find it's a useful language, and it's a language that's, I guess, close to me just because of my culture. And I never learned it when I was really young, but now I'm learning it now, and it's something I just really enjoy.
Okay, so is that like choosing Italian language was a part of your course, or just you are free to choose anything what you like in Canada?
So you can pretty much choose what you'd like. How it works is there's different, I guess you could almost call them streams or programs that you apply to. So For example, for me, all of my programs fall under arts and science. So
Mhm.
that is where all the humanities. So you'd have even English, social science, psychology, like a lot of different, I guess, humanities types courses. And how it works is that you apply to humanities, or it's called arts and science, and you can take all of those courses. There are some, however, and it's not, it doesn't like work that like that for every course. There's some that aren't, that work a little differently. So for example, let's say engineering. I wouldn't be able to take engineering courses because I'm not in engineering, and you have to get a different mark. So it's a higher mark, and you have to take certain maths and sciences if you want to go to engineering, for example. And there's a few other divisions, at least at University of Toronto. So like I said, arts and science, engineering, architecture, I believe, business. So
Mhm.
there's a few different ones, and then you'd have to apply to that to take the courses, I suppose, within it.
Okay. So, like, how is environment different for someone who is, from a separate country, or who's migrating from some country to reach Canada and just start its new education? So,
Yeah. So one thing I would say, it really depends on which university you go to. And I
okay.
think you can sort of divide universities into two sort of categories. So the first, universities in cities, and universities outside of cities.
Mhm.
So some of the best universities in, I guess, in Canada are in the cities. So we have University of Toronto in Toronto, McGill in Montreal, University of British Columbia in Vancouver. And those universities, it's very multicultural. There's lots of different neighborhoods within the cities, and you would probably find really large Indian communities within these cities. So while, for the education aspect, you do need to speak English, right, quite well. And there is the, you have to be fluent in that way. There are still lots of Indian restaurants within the city, or grocery stores. So it wouldn't feel, I don't think, as different, I suppose, as if you went to a university outside of the city. So we also have a lot of good universities outside the city. Western and Queens are two that come to mind. And those are a little bit different. They're almost like, I don't know if you've seen those movies from the United States of like the college campuses there, where it's in the middle of nowhere and there's parties and stuff. So it's more like that for those ones. Usually the students live very close to the university on campus a lot of the time.
Mhm.
And there it would probably be a little bit less diverse. So you wouldn't have, not that they're still quite diverse, but it's not the same. You're not in a city, right? So, you may be in a town that doesn't have a large Indian community, right? So it would probably be a little bit more difficult, I would assume,
Okay.
I guess, it just feel more different, right?
So,
But
like, when we migrate from a country, we travel to know something good, to, like, to learn something, to, like, and traveling a country is something extraordinary. And you just travel, you just meet new people, you meet new cultures, traditions, many more things. And,
mhm.
like, as now it's becoming a trend that everybody is going to Canada without any reason. You must have a reason to visit a country, which what I think is, so, like, what do you think that a Indian student should take with him to, like, from inner self, that while he is visiting to Canada, and what are his endeavors and ambitions to follow? Like, what are the conditions as an Canadian student you advise to an Indian student?
Yeah. So I would say, well, there's a few things I guess you could say. First and foremost, I mean, if you want to practice English, Canada is a very English. Well, everyone speaks English mostly, right?
Mhm.
So if that's something you find important, if you go to a university in our, we have provinces that divide our country. So if you go to the province of Quebec, there's a lot of people that speak French. So if French is something that you'd want to learn, you may want to go to a university like McGill or Concordia, which is in Quebec. I would say another good thing that you can pick up in Canada is there are, and I'm not sure, I'm not an expert on India, but at least Canada, I guess unique because you have people, it's an immigrant country, right? As in, the First Nations people, the indigenous people that live there only make up about 4% of the population. So 96% are people that have come from, Europe, Asia, Africa, like all over the place, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So I would say that the makeup of the people, there's lots of different perspectives, right? And lots of different cultures within our cities, especially the large ones like Toronto
Mm.
or Montreal or Vancouver. So I would say that you can kind of pick up a taste for lots of different countries
Yeah.
while you're in Canada, right? And I would say one more as well is that Canada, I mean, it is a very, relatively speaking, it's a wealthy country, right? There's lots of opportunity here, lots of
Mm.
jobs.
Mm.
So if that's something you're looking for, you're looking maybe to get your foot in the door, maybe one day live in Canada because you like the opportunity. Going to school here isn't a bad idea, right? To see if you like the country, maybe make some connections, and then go from there.
Yeah.
So.
So like Canada, no doubt, is something a country which is doing a great, effort in education system, and Canada is no doubt providing the one of the best education in the world. So like coming to Canada and after that just losing the opportunities and grabbing no jobs, just wasting the time there with friends and someone after migrating from such a big diverse country like India, you know I don't think personally it make any sense, and this is what students are doing right now. So what are the advice do you think you can give to these students?
Yeah. Well, I'd say, I mean, first and foremost, if you're going to university, you need to be going there to learn, right? You're there to learn. You're not there for, that's your number one reason why you're there. So just keep that in mind, I guess, right? I mean, I think socializing, making new friends and meeting new people can be great, can help you in the future. I don't think I believe in that. But at the same time, school always comes first. So I think that's important. And I would say, on top of just like school coming first, I think that if you're going to go to another country to learn and to go to university, try to make the most of it in terms of, you know, I guess if you can find a job or something, or if you can learn a skill, or try to do things here in Canada that maybe you wouldn't be able to do in India, right? Take advantage of the opportunity now that you're here, right? Because let's say you go back home after you're done university here, then it's who knows the next time you're going to be in Canada, right?
Yeah, sure.
That's what I would say.
So like here in India, so like there's much importance given to the papers of degrees. Like if you have a degree, you are appointed as an good one. Like you will be selected first, you will be preferred first for the job. No doubt, what skill is in you, you can do that job. Are you able to do that or anything else? So what matters here is the papers. So is that thing the same in Canada, that you are just showing your degrees to someone and getting the jobs, or the skills matter the most?
I would say that more. I would say maybe even the skills matter the most because maybe one thing that may be different here is that we have a very educated population.
Mm.
So I forget the exact number, but I believe it's over 60% of our population, of
Yeah,
our adult population, has a university degree.
yeah,
So
yeah,
to have a university degree is good, but a lot of times it's not enough to just have your bachelor's 4-year degree if you want to have like a career that pays a lot of money here, right? So usually people either get a master's degree or they go to a specialty school. So maybe they go to law school after, or something like that. So I would say that at least as far as universities go, a lot of times you do need that extra education, and you really want to look for experiences that complement what you're studying. So you don't want to, like, for example, I could do what I'm doing now and just go for 4 years, but the degree isn't worth too much if I didn't do, let's say, clubs while I was at the university that were relevant to what I want to do, or if I don't know, I didn't work at all, right? Like you want to do other things as well to complement it, because just the paper alone, it isn't well, I mean, in Canadian dollar, it's probably translates to a lot of money, and like
yeah.
I guess relatively speaking in India, but if you want a job that makes over 100,000 Canadian dollars a year, you need more than just more than just your
Yeah,
undergraduate
this
degree.
is what I want to tell to the students that are leaving India. They leave India just because of the Canadian dollars. They think the figures Canadian dollars will make in India are very much. But what is the Canadian dollar in Canada? That is thing which matters. What you are
Yeah.
earning in Canada, are you able to, like bother your household or any charge what you are having in Canada? That is the
Mhm.
thing what matters. But they are
Yeah.
leaving just to earn money and gathering no information here. Even some of my colleagues that leave India to Canada are not able to speak English. So
Mm.
this is what matters. You know,
Yeah.
coming in the society of such an educated like people or the group of people, Canada is no doubt one of the educated countries in the world. And just leaving that country without gaining any education is what hurts to Indian students.
Hmm.
So,
Yeah.
like, again, coming to that point, like, what are the environments and what are the like things that an Indian student faces? You think that they are not able to do these things in Canada? Like, if you have ever watched them.
Hmm. Well, I would say one thing, just to back to the language, knowing like being fluent or close to fluent in English is really important. Or
Hmm.
yeah, you're going to have a hard time because at least all the, I mean, unless you're taking an Indian class, which is rare, like you're going to be, it's going to be all in English, right? So you really, if you're going to learn a lot, you need to speak the language well or understand it well. Um, I would also say that depending, so there's, there's some, how I was saying that there's some universities that are even like inside or outside the city, there's distractions, right? So if you're in a city, there's lots of things going on. There's, restaurants, clubs, bars, social scene. And it's not, I'm a believer that it's good to experience some of that, right? Like you don't want to only study and never go to experience that, but it can be a distraction, right? So you need to make sure you have to manage your time so that you set aside what you need for school and you prioritize it, and then maybe more time for the other things. And if you go to a school outside of the city, a lot of times these are, we call them party schools, like schools that they may be good schools, but they'll have huge parties, and it's like that could be a distraction as well. So you don't want to get caught up in that, right? You need to, same thing, right? Manage your time so that you put school first and then the fun, I
Yeah.
guess, a little bit later, right?
Okay. So, like, does in the Canadian education gives in the Indian students opportunities to work on that reputed jobs, the high-paying salary jobs in Canada?
Yeah. So like I said, kind of back to what I was saying before, where it depends what you're doing, really. So a lot of times what people have started to do more and more here actually is instead of going to university, they'll go to college, and they'll maybe do a trade. So like maybe work as a plumber, work as an electrician. Those are jobs that are in really high demand here in Canada. Like there's just a lot of work for people who do those jobs. And you can do go to college, do whatever it is, 2 to 4 years, and you can make a lot of maybe over $100,000 right away. Like you can make it quite quickly, but it's a different type of job, right? If you go to university, it's a little bit different. It depends really on what you want to do and what degree. So, for example, for humanities, arts and science, chime in. If I were to just leave after 4 years with my bachelor's degree, it's not really enough. I'd like to go to law school, but there's lots of, like you take a master's, you go to teacher's college, lots of things you could do. Maybe if you went to engineering, that's a different one where, engineers are in high demand. You could probably do 4 years and then get a job right after, more than likely. Something like business, it depends. A lot of people do their master's or their MBA in business as well, right? They do their 4 years and they do another 2 years to see if they can get a job if they don't have one straight out. Because some people will have it straight out of school and some won't. So it depends, right? There's some, like I said, like maybe something like if you're doing trades, like plumbing or being an electrician or engineering, where they are in very high demand, you could get a job quicker in your field. But there's others that may take longer. But I think at the end of the day, it's not only about money, right? You also have to do what you like. You don't want to do a job that you do your school and then you hate it for the next 20, 30 years. So you have to, obviously be smart about it, make sure you're getting
Yeah.
good marks and do well, but choose something that you like, but do keep those facts in mind before you choose.
Yeah. So like Canada is much more digitalized than India, if I'm not wrong. So like, are there opportunities in the digital manner or in the digital field for some Indian students to study there, the digitalization, and go in the field of digital? As I am also in the field of digital marketing here. Okay.
Mm.
So like, is there any option there to go and just opt these fields?
Yeah, so for digital marketing in particular, I'll be honest, I'm not an expert on that. So I don't want to keep that in mind before I
So
go.
just an overview, just an overview for the students.
Pardon me?
Just an overview for the students, like.
Yeah, just as an overview, I mean, there's a lot of at least in the cities, you'll generally find there's a lot of jobs in most fields, really. So, I mean, our big three cities are Toronto, Montreal, and Vancouver. Those are the largest cities, the ones with the most opportunities. Um, so, and in particular, if you're talking about not just digital marketing, but maybe like computer science, there's certain, so the other thing as well, and this is something I maybe should have said before, is there's certain universities that are known for being good with certain programs, right? So for example, there's one university called University of Waterloo. It's outside of Toronto. You know, you probably maybe didn't hear it, never heard of it, but it's our best university or one of our best for computer science. It's one of the best. Although maybe for something like history, it wouldn't be as good, right? It wouldn't be ranked as highly. So, and then maybe you go to another university, University of Toronto, where I'm at, is it ranks highly in almost everything because it's just a
Mhm.
really good university, right? So there's some universities like Waterloo that are really specific. So let's say you want to do digital marketing, computer science, something in that field, you may need to look to see I guess the reputation of whatever university you're going to, because there could be a specific university somewhere that's really well known for like one or two or three programs and maybe not so good at others. Or you opt to go to a university that's really high on that world ranking list that generally almost every program will be pretty good.
Yeah.
So you kind of have two options in that way, I guess, in a
Oh,
sense.
okay. So like, what are the specific skills uh, student from India should carry to Canada, or Indian students should learn in Canada? What are the
Mm.
specific skills do you think are essential for Indian student?
Yeah. So I would say, well, okay, I've said it before, but language 100%. You're in an English country, just learn it as much as you can. And if you want to do French, Quebec or New Brunswick, I believe as well. They also speak a lot of French there. Beyond language, though, I would say that, well, one thing, I mean, Canadians are generally quite friendly, quite open. Uh, I would say that it's a good country to maybe, network, and people are generally open, right? So if you go and you go in person to a store and you say, hey, maybe I want a job here, experience here, help you out. They may say no, but they'll be polite about it and friendly. And most people, they're open, right? They're not,
Okay.
it's not like closed off. In terms of skills, other than that, I would say, yeah, the social aspect, just being friendly and meeting, taking those opportunities, language. Um, I think those are the main ones. And I think the only thing other than that is like, bring a strong work ethic and be willing to work hard, right? Because the good thing about Canada, at least in my opinion, is it's a pretty fair country where like it's not perfect, but generally speaking, everybody's treated quite equally, right? So if you work hard, I believe you'll get something for your effort, right?
Mm.
Because it's like it's not a perfect clear slate for everyone, but it's pretty close, right? It's a pretty fair country. I
Mm.
mean, relative to other countries, right? So bring that hard work ethic with you. I know a lot. I know some, have some Indian friends as well, and I know they're hard workers. At least the ones I know. So I'm confident that a lot of you guys, even watching this video, probably worked really hard with your IELTS and really hard with your studies so far. So don't come to Canada and lose that, right? Keep it up because it really sets you apart, and it's you'll get rewarded, whether it's in your marks or in a job or something, right? It'll come back to help.
So the thing is, just migrate if you want to learn something, if you want to be good, and if you want to enhance, even if you want to compete with yourself, then only you should migrate and travel to something. a beautiful country and an educated part of the country. And overall, it was like, if you think you are good at some points, you need to enhance those. And if you think you are quite low at some points, then you need to work on it if you want to come to Canada. And the most specific thing is that you need to do hard work, which is the most important thing in Canada. Okay,
100.
so now coming to a question like, what are the programs for Indian student you want to suggest?
Yeah,
Exactly, the programs you want to suggest to them.
yeah. So I mean, there's so many programs that you could take, but I would say, well, let's say if you're fluent in English, I would say go ahead, do a humanities thing. So something like I'm in humanities, I love it, so I will always say that the courses I'm taking I love and I recommend them to anyone. So if you speak fluently, go for it. Um, you know, even maybe if you don't, there's a lot of other courses, programs available that, I think you need to be quite competent in English, but there's maybe some that maybe if you take like a math, you wouldn't need to be as competent in English, right? Because it's not as, you're not writing essays, right? You're doing more equations and such, right? So, let's say a business, right? Or even, the sciences, right? There's lots of opportunity there. And I think if you're an Indian student, maybe you have to look at if you're coming and your main idea is work, you need to think of, how far will your finances go? So if you want, job right out of university or college, like the trades, like I was saying, so plumbing, electrical work, trying to think welding, like those things, lots of demand. Um, Engineering, right? So those they're known, quite hard, but you can get a job a little quicker.
Mhm.
If you're willing to wait a little longer, maybe you want to do sciences and then go to med school, be a doctor, right? Or you want to maybe do business and become a CPA, chartered professional accountant, right? There's that route.
So
Or
almost
yes,
like
there's lots. Maybe that's not a specific answer, but there's lots of routes to choose. And I would
almost
say you like and what you think you'd be good at, really, at the end of the day.
so like almost there is variety in every subject. You can go and go on with any subject and go get a good job in your field if you want in Canada. So is that you want
Yeah,
to?
I would say so.
Yeah.
I
Oh.
would say
So like the next part, the what are the major things that Indian students, want in Canada or learn in Canada, you would say. Like as we talk about that, you must be very fluent in English, you should come here and meet new people, you'll be socialized here, na? And you will be getting the most beautiful education of the world. But what are the things they follow there, like it, like you have some Indian friends, and what are the like common parts you would say are some good points of Indian students when they reach there?
Mhm. So, well, one thing I did say before is the good work ethic, right? Do not forget about that. That is so important. So bring that over. Uh, you know, one thing I'd say as well, most of the Indian students I've met are super friendly, and that's something that works well. I mean, Canadians are generally quite friendly too. So, I think that at least I can say for myself, I love learning about new cultures, new people, new food, new everything, right? So keep in mind that as much as maybe you want to come to Canada and learn a lot about our country, like a lot of times people want to learn about you as well, right? And bringing those sort of things to the table is like really appreciated here, right? It's like celebrated, I would say, to be from a different culture. So that's one thing as well. As a third, I'd say those are like the two big ones. Those are the two big ones. Mm, I think we'll keep it at that. Those are like the two that I think are like super, super important because, I don't want to make like too many generalizations or anything, but I think that I've seen those two and they're very positive traits and they're things that you should bring if coming from India to here.
Okay, so at the last point, should the students of India, which are even here in India and which are your country students, not Indian, but your like the youngsters of Canada, should they?
Oh, like
Okay,
Indian Canadians? Is that what you're?
Indian and Canadians, both. And do you want to suggest something that uh, the platforms which we are working on, like YouTube, website, blogging, are these the good platforms to work with and start your, careers in it, or just start them as a passion or a purpose you need to do with that? Like, are these the good platforms to work on for the students, or just they need to complete their studies first and just then go for something like these platforms, or
Yeah.
they should not work on these platforms?
Right. Well, I would say there's pros and cons, right? So, at least personally, I not only have my YouTube channel, but I write scripts for other YouTube channels. So a couple of the larger ones I've worked with, have over 1 million subscribers. So I've worked with some larger ones there.
This was the
And
thing you never told me.
yeah, yeah. I didn't, maybe I haven't said it, but it's true. And actually what I used to find these jobs were freelancing websites. So there's one called Upwork.com. That's my favorite by far.
Yeah, I will work on Upwork.
Yeah, Upwork is by far one of the best, and you can find those really good jobs there. And you know what? I would say, they pay more than you probably would make in a minimum wage job if you work at it, right? It's one of those things, hard work as well. You really need to grind away and maybe work smaller contracts first to build it up. So, work there. And I would say that, personally, I've loved it. It's great because you can make your own schedule. I mean, even during the year, I was still writing for a lot of these larger YouTube channels while doing my studies. So I did both because I could do it whenever I wanted. So I'd get it maybe at the beginning of the week, a YouTube channel would say, hey, we want 2 videos by the end of the week to write. So I would go, maybe work on an essay and then have a few hours, work on a YouTube script, and it was really convenient, right? So that's one of the pros. However, you also have to keep in mind that if you work on digital space, you work making a YouTube channel as a freelancer, whatever it may be, is you have to be disciplined, right? Because if you don't manage your time well, if you're late with deadlines, like people don't like that, your clients, right? So you really need to be on the ball, or else it's not maybe the best idea. And you have to work hard too, because at first, I remember when I first started on Upwork, I would go 8 hours applying for jobs. I wouldn't get one job. It was like so bad. But eventually, I built it up, and I kept working at it, and now I have a pretty good profile, I would say, right? I'm able to get some pretty decent clients. So that's what I would say on that front. However, let's say, if you don't think that's for you, there's also, I know some friends that do jobs where it's maybe you work in a restaurant, you work in a grocery store, you work somewhere else. And I would say that because for some people, they like to, go to a place and work for 5, 6, 7 hours rather than having to time manage on the computer and like they like being somewhere. And I would say for an Indian student, one of the positives there is, let's say you want to practice your English, you're around people, right? You're talking to customers. Well, if when I'm writing my YouTube script, I'm not talking to anyone. I'm just on my own in my room, right? So there's a difference there, right? So that's a really big positive, I think, especially if you want to come to Canada, and one of your big reasons is to maybe improve your English. Maybe you want to work at like a restaurant or somewhere where you speak English all the time. So, pros and cons. I love working digital. I think it's the best place to work, best place to find opportunities and jobs, but it's not for everyone. And there's also pros to not working in the digital space as well.
Yeah, but it can, like, it can be a good platform to work on. Like, to be digital is something good to work on. Okay.
100%. And even, I will say this, even if it's not as a job. So let's say you just want to, my YouTube channel right now, the Rooster Report. Like, sure, I make money working with my other channels, but that one I don't make any money with right now. It's like a thing I enjoy doing. It's a passion, right? And that's great too, because not only, well, you get to share your ideas with the world and make your videos, but you also, if you really want, you could put that on your resume too and say, hey, look, I've really put in the work with my channel. It's something I enjoy. Maybe a future employer will appreciate it, right? So there's definitely a lot of pros, and I highly suggest using those digital platforms, whether it's for a job or just to better yourself and to make content that you like. But like I said, pros and cons, right? So there's also pros to maybe not doing it as well.
Yeah, so you need to take all the pros and cons in your mind and then start working on these platforms, I think.
Exactly. Exactly. Be willing to work hard because, like I said, at the beginning it's so tough. You get no viewers, nobody's hiring you. It's like it feels so like disheartening, but you have to put in the time. So
So
keep
like
that in
you
mind.
have to be patient and be consistent on these platforms, then one day you will be, very good in the future. It takes some time to come on any platform and boom the market, but yeah, once you have to keep the right foot only once, and once that foot comes in the market, then nobody is there to, you know who can alter you place or replace you, because the talent is only in you. You can utilize it, work on it, and have a very beautiful life, I think, on digital platforms. And it's good because my earnings are almost from the digital platforms, and working here is very good on digital
Mhm.
platforms. And everybody, wants to work as you loves to, because nobody see your beginning, they just see the results. And what we Indians are, we Indian, almost every student in the world is, desiring the instant results. But the thing is, nobody gets the instant result.
Mhm.
You need to work very hard to get the results. And right now we are forming a company named Digital Sky. After our long, run, we came to this point, and it was really a work, hard work and smart work, I would say. But yeah, we reached the point. Hope so this startup will boom. And it was a nice talk with you. Thanks a lot for joining us. I'll not take much of your time now. I think the time, it will be night, I think that.
Yes,
So,
it's 11:36 p.m. right
oh
now.
my
So
God.
a little bit. It's not too bad.
So thanks a lot for joining us, talking with us, and adding great, great, great value for my viewers and for everyone who will be watching us. And again, thanks a lot for joining us. And last thing you want to say?
I guess last thing. Well, first, thank you so much for having me on, Pargat. You know what? Like I said, I really, I guess, respect what you do on your channel. The amount of value that you give to everyone, and just your personality is so great and so warm and welcoming. So it's awesome to be on the channel and to speak with you. And I mean, to all the students out there, I hope you consider coming to Canada
Yeah,
as an option.
I'll come together.
It's I mean, I love this country a lot, and I think that you guys would most likely love it as well. And you know what? I just keep watching Pargat for great tips and for great advice. And if you guys want to even reach out to me, I mean, you have the YouTube link down there, and you can send me. I have my email there too. So if you ever even want to ask me any questions about anything that we discussed today, by all means, you're feel free to email me from the YouTube channel.
So thanks a lot.
No worries. See you, Pargat.
See you, brother.